Hi, and welcome to Leo's Sun, Moon, and Rising Spiritual Connection reading. Welcome, everyone. So this is I Am Illuminated Tarot and Meaning-Based Spiritual Coaching Services. I am Lauren, and thank you for joining me. So all of the content on this channel and on my website are here to help you work with the Triad of Engagement, which is a tool that I have created that works with the three basic principles of curiosity, courage, and contemplation, and shows you how to utilize those in your life so that when you apply them together, it shows you how they can keep you fully engaged and in flow with the unique energetic imprint of your life. Additionally, all content is here to help you answer your very own I am question so that you can re-engage with life in a more authentic, meaningful, and emotionally fulfilling way. If you are interested in learning more about the Triad of Engagement and how it can help liberate you from the feelings of frustration, fear, and anxiety so that you can re-engage with life as your authentic self, and in doing so, engage you with the feelings of meaning and purpose and the ability to see your place, as well as happiness. You can click on the video links in the description box below. There are two videos, one of which is more of a visual experience, and one is just me kind of chatting about it. So I hope you guys can check those out. But Cancer, let's get right into your reading. So spiritual connection. What am I talking about when I talk about spiritual connection? I'm talking about connecting your unique, internal, singular self with the external environment. And why is this so important? It's because my personal belief is that each one of us, each one of these 7.5 billion people on this earth are meant to fulfill some part of the collective puzzle. We are all born with our unique hopes and dreams and gifts, and we're meant to engage those with our external environment so that we can fulfill a role that is specifically meant for us to fulfill. Because no two people are alike. No two people will ever have exactly the same perspective, no matter whether they're born as twins or whether they're born on two different sides of the globe. Everybody has their own unique perspective. And I really want to empower people to understand their significance and importance, and that in elevating yourself through direct connection and experience with the external world, you are unlocking the highest version of yourself and thereby actually elevating and being of service to the greater collective human experience. All right, so my lovely Leos, I'm going to start here with looking at your energy versus the energy of your external environment. So let's see, Leos, what you are currently sitting with right now. What are Leo's? Ooh, wonderful. We have the Three of Pentacles. And the Three of Pentacles is a card of building. It's a card of building with others. It's a card of starting that foundation I look at it as it's building something in the tangible world, but it's also the start of building a legacy that stems from teamwork and creativity. And let's see what your external environment, let's see the energy why they're asking you to engage right now. What are you going to learn about yourself? What are they asking you to uncover? What role are they looking for you to fill? Ooh, the Tower. Interesting. These two, so very interesting, Leo. So when we think about the Three of Pentacles, this is about building. Starting to build something new. And again, collaboration, working with others to do that. And then the Tower is a major arcana card of basically exactly what you see here, shaking things up, tearing down what's already been built. And the Tower card is a very powerful one. It's one that actually is, even though it seems scary, it looks scary, right? Lightning striking a tower, it's on fire, people are falling. It's actually one of liberation. The Tower is a card that is meant to show us that there's some part of our lives that has to be torn down because something is faulty. We're either at a place where we've become complacent and we're no longer growing, so we're just kind of stuck in this almost imprisoned. Instead of living in a tower that we built that we imagined was going to be this beautiful place that we were going to entertain people in and we were going to do all these cool things, instead it's become a place of imprisonment because we're not doing those things. We're now just kind of living in this like status quo world, and something needs to change. And when we choose not to make the change on our own over here, the unknown, ever-changing component of our external environment is going to come in and say, well, too bad. You didn't want to make the choice to change, so now we're going to come in and change something for you so that you can see where you've been held back, so that you can continue your evolutionary growth to be able to step into the highest version of yourself. So right now, this is a very interesting dynamic. You're really being asked to face and bring forward, coming into the external environment with what you're building. So there is something here that you're building, and something that actually might help with what is being torn down now in your external environment. Now, in between these two cards is what I call the void. This is the void of fear, anxiety, learned negative thought patterns. This is basically where, when I talk about the Triad of Engagement, I go into great detail, especially in the visual video, of how this void grows. But basically, what happens in the void, I'm going to start to pull cards while I do this for your void. What happens in the void is, as we go from a childhood to adulthood, and we engage internal parts of ourselves with our external environment, we end up at times getting negative responses from our external environment. So we will try to bring a portion of our unique self out, get a bad response, and then we start to dig either what you can consider like a moat, or you start to layer like a mask. But we start to create this void. We start to create distance between ourselves and the external environment. So every time we bring some part of ourselves out, we get a bad response. We then create another layer of fear or anxiety about bringing that part of ourselves out again, and we end up hiding that part and hiding that part and hiding that part to allow for this distance to continue to grow and grow and grow. Okay, let's see here. That's way too many cards. Let's see if we can get just one or two more here. So what ends up happening then as this void grows is we can grow it to the point where we eventually are so disconnected between bringing and living our unique selves into our external environment that we're just going through the motions. We no longer can feel emotional connection because we're constantly having this buffer, this barrier between us and our experience of the external world. And that can be, a very negative, very sad place to be in. This is where we can actually, suffer from depression. This is where we can suffer from a loss of being able to see our purpose. And it's especially where we can see a loss of identity, because we've so masked a portion of ourselves that we lose touch with it. And the external environment loses the benefit of us bringing that part of ourselves into it. And so that's why it's so important to utilize the Triad of Engagement to build a bridge, starting with curiosity, across this void, so that we can continue to engage ourselves in a healthy way with our external environment, and we can release fear and anxiety. Now, we can never get rid of them completely, because all emotions have some place, right, in our life. We develop fears for a reason. They can be protective mechanisms for ourselves. It's actually something that we can experience when we're tapping into a positive part of ourselves, which is our intuition. So we may feel fear when we're doing that, and that's a fear because something isn't meant for us. But when fear becomes a point of disconnection, when fear becomes a reason for you not to take action, same with anxiety, same with frustration, then if those become more of your reasoning when you're trying to avoid basically those feelings, and that becomes your reasoning for making decisions instead of fearlessly making decisions from an empowered place of confidence on your own internal behalf, that's where we have an issue. So when I'm looking at the story unfolding here, we have the Six of Cups, the Queen of Cups, Wheel of Fortune, King of Cups, and the Ace of Cups. You have so much cups here. This is all emotion right now, Leo. And which is interesting because I think the moon was just in Leo recently, which is, kind of coming into our seat of, emotions, and the subconscious can actually bring up insecurities. But when I'm looking at your seat of kind of fear here, this first card is usually the card that indicates the very first kind of protective layer. This is the first time you tried to bring a part of yourself out and it was like, scary. I don't want to do that again. So really the story that's coming through here for me is that Six of Cups is a card of nostalgia. It's going back to the past. It's our emotional connection to something, either where we connect with something about ourselves, and this can actually be a card that indicates bringing a gift from the past about yourself forward into the future. But there's also this element of nostalgia and looking back at the past. And so what I'm seeing here right now is this kind of, I think, fear about what has happened in the past, but also this misplaced nostalgia of something. You're looking at something was good, almost like masking you wanting to dive a little deeper into looking at something in your past that perhaps was maybe not as idyllic as you thought it was. Or you've, put this layer of almost like a nostalgic illusion from something in the past, and it's not allowing you to be able to have true emotional connection to something right now, because you have the Queen of Cups and the King of Cups, which is interesting with the Wheel of Fortune in between. So there's this component of, I really feel for you guys, there's something about a partnership. Now the Queen of Cups and the King of Cups obviously are also, they denote specific energies. So the Queen of Cups is really about understanding that you always have this full cup. The Queen of Cups holds the Ace of Cups, and the Ace of Cups is that feeling, that knowledge that our cup always overfloweth as long as we are connected to spirit. That we always have our own cup that is forever filled with emotional connection and love, and that ability to connect ourselves with others in the most beautiful and emotionally vulnerable way. And the Queen of Cups holds that, and she holds it with full knowledge and awareness that she has all of that within her, and that's what stabilizes her even in an unstable environment. Now the King of Cups takes it a step further, and he is so secure in his emotions that he can be seen as the spiritual advisor. He's somebody who actually might not openly and outwardly show a lot of emotional, I wouldn't say outbursts, but doesn't show a lot of emotions outwardly, because he is so in control and understands how to wield his emotions that he is not ruled by them. So that when somebody comes to ask for advice, he can tap into his emotions and utilize them to give a very heartfelt, and again, kind of when you're working with emotions, that generally tap you into the spiritual side of your existence, that he has that ability to do that innately. And then we have the Ace of Cups, which here is that gift, that knowledge, that gift from the divine. It can also signify a new love relationship depending on the way you look at it. But what I'm seeing here is that there's this element of kind of an illusion, something that you've kind of masked, where you haven't wanted to, masking a part of your past and not wanting to fully face it. There's an illusion around either love here specifically, or around somebody who has kind of been in this Queen of Cups mothering role and not wanting to see the reality of it. See the reality that perhaps you might have been hurt by an energy that was meant to be helpful and nurturing to you. Or an environment where, you know, you could have been in a relationship and you're looking at it with this kind of, you know, rose-colored glass. Like, this is really the rose-colored glasses. I'm going to look at things in rose-colored glasses, and I'm not going to go past this point. Because the Wheel of Fortune here is showing me that there's movement that's trying to be made, but there's a fear around movement. There's a fear around getting past this kind of feminine energy that's around emotions and fully stepping into the masculine side to our emotions. So when I say masculine, I'm not talking about male, and I'm not talking about feminine, I'm not talking about female. I'm talking about feminine and masculine. Feminine is receptive and nurturing. Masculine is more outward and kind of, you know, pushing movement. So we have two different ways of harnessing the same energy. But there's this component of moving from what I see almost as codependence on this feminine example of emotions, and seeing perhaps a wound that you've been hiding behind, to not step into this higher level of who you need to tap into as Leo right now. That you can get past that to become the King of Cups, so that you can master this, to understand that that your cup is always full, that you don't have to be waiting to get somebody else's cup, that you have your cup and it's always there, and what is in it. But I think this is your major fear point of what is in your cup. And if this is tied to a new relationship, well, that's a very scary thought, right? It's a very scary thought of, well, I've always relied on somebody else to bring that cup to me. I've always relied on somebody else to bring emotional fulfillment to me. I'm not the one bringing emotional fulfillment to somebody else. And perhaps you've been all over the place in your emotions. Perhaps you are being asked to step into this place of emotional maturity and you don't want to. It's really what I'm feeling here. And that's really where it's an interesting, it's something that was very, very interesting with the Three of Pentacles and the Tower here. So what I'm seeing here is that with this as your fear point, this fear of really seeing your past relationships, and specifically your past relationships tied to feminine energy, whether this is a relationship with your mother, relationship with your an ex-partner, even relationships to feminine archetypal energy types in your work environment, to really take a look and see, where have you been kind of glossing over a component? Like where are you not admitting to yourself that you allowed somebody else who maybe kind of was emotionally manipulating you, or you held on to this ideal of this feminine. So another component here of holding on to this ideal of like the perfect feminine woman, this perfect feminine nurturing energy, and almost relying on that before you can fully start to build and manifest what you want to create in the external environment. So there's a hang up here with seeing something for not what it is. So really, that's your fear point. Your fear point is to take a look at the female interactions you've had in your whole life and to realize that, again, you might have been waiting for them to bring something to you. You've been waiting for this external validation of who you are on an emotional level. And what you're being asked to do right now is to realize you are the King of Cups. You can step into a place of emotional maturity and see things for what they are. And realize that in order for you, if you want to draw in this type of energy, if you want to draw in a nurturing feminine energy, you have to be the opposite. You have to be the one who steps into being emotionally mature, being emotionally in control, knowing what fills your cup, because no one else is going to fill your cup for you. Even the best mother or the best feminine partnership. So again, this could even be you're a female and this is talking about a male. Men can still harness female energy. It doesn't matter. The issue is that no one else can fill your cup. No one else can nurture this into existence. This is what lies within you. You know what you want to build. But you have to be able to, in order for you to have emotional connection to it, you have to know what fills you emotionally. You have to fill your own cup first. So there's this element here, I think, of maybe currently right now what you're sitting with is a relationship that is, you feel like it's not either fulfilling you in a certain way, or you are trying really hard to create something based around emotional connection and a significant other, and it's not working. Something's not quite working out here because you're again looking at something through rose-colored glasses. You're expecting somebody else to come in and nurture you, and in reality you have to step into nurturing yourself. And that's what's going to get the Wheel of Fortune moving. And because I feel like this is the sticking point, and you're not doing that, and you're not recognizing it, you're not recognizing, past unhealthy relationships with feminine energy archetypes in your past, that this is why the Tower's coming in. But the Tower's coming in to liberate you. Tower's coming in to liberate you by showing you what's in your cup, by showing you that you hold this power within yourself, and that perhaps what you were building might not have been on a solid foundation. So in coming forward here, you're going to get a chance to see, okay, what's not working? Where's the rubble that I can clear away? And how can I start building from a place of true emotional connection that's healthy, where I get to bring my cup? I'm building it for me. I'm not building it for somebody else. Now I'm going to pull cards down here for the Triad of Engagement, which will look at the principles of curiosity, courage, and contemplation as a way to help you navigate across this sticking point, this element of kind of fear and anxiety and frustration that I'm feeling coming from this. Okay, first card is going to be for curiosity. Now, curiosity is the bridge. This is the bridge that we build between ourselves and our external environment to help us navigate over all the negative stuff underneath. Because right now, we don't have an open connection between ourselves and our external environment. Why? Because our external environment is made up of change. It's out of our control. It's scary. That's why we've built this protective barrier. That's why we've built this moat, so that we can keep ourselves protected. But it's time. You're building something, and it's meant to be built. It's meant to be shown to the external world. Because what's the fun of building something on an island that you can never share with others? So we have the goddess of the moon and angel of strength. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Okay. So when we're talking about building a bridge of curiosity, curiosity as a concept really builds on the concepts, additional concepts of optimism, openness, and receptivity. When we think of curiosity, what is curiosity? It is being curious about something with the intent of learning more about that, but doing so from a place of openness and receptivity. What's going to happen? What happens as we get older is that we lose our ability to tap into curiosity because we start to say, oh, I already know what's going to happen when I do that. Oh, I already know that when I, eat this food, I don't like it. Oh, I already know that when I get on a plane and fly here, I, didn't like going there. Whatever it is. And we start to block ourselves off more and more and more from just being open to the fact that the external world is nothing but change. So yeah, maybe 20 years ago, you didn't like that pizza from that one restaurant. But in 20 years, things have changed. Your tastes have changed. And now you go back and you can have a slice of pizza from that same establishment you didn't like 20 years ago. And this time you're like, oh my gosh, totally didn't realize how delicious this was. Used to hate goat cheese, but man, this signature pizza with the goat cheese, I love it now. And that's because you've had a whole lifetime in between to learn about goat cheese. Maybe that was the first time you were introduced to it 20 years ago and you were like, oh, now you have a taste for it. And so that's where, when we talk about what's in our cup and our own emotional connection, that's where we have to look at this right now in the present as we are. Not who we were when we were trying to have this strange codependent relationship, or we were looking for another to validate us and provide us with this feeling of emotional connection and security. It's who are we now in this moment? What makes us feel secure? What makes us feel emotionally connected? What would make me happy if I got a chance to tap into that every day? And so your bridge of curiosity is the goddess of the moon and angel of strength, which is beautiful. The goddess of the moon is about tapping into your intuition, tapping actually into the connection between yourself and spirit. And the angel of strength is just that. And ironically enough, this basically is the rendition of the tarot card, the strength card in the tarot, which is the card of you, Leo. So you're being asked to tap into the best version of yourself, the highest version of yourself, to build this bridge of curiosity, which is, who are you now? You've been hiding a part of yourself that you've wanted to build. You've been building something, but you've been holding yourself back because you feel you haven't been getting this validation, this emotional connection from somebody else. And in reality, it's time for you to connect on your own, to bring this out. And you need your own strength to do that. You need to tap into your own abilities, which for Leo, your own abilities are coming from a place of heart-centeredness, of being able to shine your light. You're a sign that's ruled by the sun, and you're the only sign that's ruled by the sun. So you, as part of your destiny, are meant to illuminate and shine in some capacity, in some area of the collective human experience. And if you're hiding yourself away, you're not able to do that. And the goddess of the moon is about tapping into that intuition, tapping into that element of, okay, I can be the King of Cups. I can tap into my intuition. I can understand how when I feel emotionally connected, I am connected to source, spirit. I am connected to myself. Now I'm going to be open and curious as to what that's going to bring in now. Who am I now in the external environment? What brings me joy? What brings me feelings of commitment? What makes me feel nurtured? And I can do it alone. I don't have to have a partner to do that. I don't have to have this validation from a feminine archetype in my life. I can nurture myself while I'm doing this. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at courage. Now, courage is the seat of your personal power. We can build the bridge of curiosity all we want, and we can say, ooh, I wonder what the possibilities of this are. And we can turn our negative what ifs and negative thought patterns into positive ones. But if we don't actually cross that bridge and engage with our external environment, then, well, nothing happens, right? We can wonder all we want about possibilities, but if you don't actually take action towards taking those possibilities, they never become opportunities. So that's where courage comes in. Courage is where we decide to walk across that bridge and take action towards actually engaging. Now we have here, it says, surrender your ego, cultivate gratitude, be of service to others, and come from your heart. A big ego can work against you, but humility will further your goals. And I think this is a powerful concept. So, I hope you guys don't take offense from this or are triggered by it, because, we all have an ego in place for a reason. It's our sense of self, and we do need that. There is an element of we need to understand ourselves separate from all others. But there is a place where sometimes that ego can get in the way. And that ego can get in the way when, especially when we're dealing with emotions, where we don't want to admit, that somebody's hurt us. That a relationship in the past actually did really emotionally hurt us. That we're trying to see with rose-colored glasses. Oh, my mom was just really stressed. Oh, my partner was, she or he just really, she worked too hard, or I could have been different for them. And this is really where your ego comes into play, where you're protecting yourself from actually just recognizing, no, that person hurt me. My mother could have stepped up and been there for me if she wanted. My mother could have been a bigger person because I'm a bigger person. I'm capable of doing that. This other person could have been capable of doing that as well. And this is where we don't want to admit to ourselves that somebody else has hurt us. And so there is this element of being able to overcome that as part of your seat of courage, is to let go of your ego and be humble. We all get hurt. We all can be influenced by others. But the beauty of it is that this is where we get to learn. This is where we get to learn that we get to step into a position that's even more powerful, more aware, more knowledgeable, more self-aware, more emotionally connected, because we are able to admit to ourselves where we've been hurt in the past. And we learn from that. And that's where humility comes in, to say, that was a humbling experience. And I can see it now from an emotionally mature perspective of, maybe my mother or father just couldn't give me that love and support because they were just a different person. But it still doesn't mean that it didn't hurt me. But I now I can act in accordance with myself and be able to provide to others what I wasn't able to have provided to me. And I'm not going to be so susceptible to that type of energy or codependent relationship, because I'm the one now who knows what's in my cup. I know how to emotionally nurture myself. I can tell myself courageously that I don't need anybody else at this time. What I'm building is for me. And it can be of service to others. In fact, I know it's being asked and called forward, or being asked to be called forward right now, because it's meant to be of service to others. And then for our final one here, we have contemplation. And contemplation, so you've built the bridge with curiosity to go across your void of fear and anxiety and frustration. You've got your seat of courage to take action, some area of release to be able to allow you to fully engage out here. And then we have contemplation. And contemplation is what is your ticket back across the bridge. It's what allows you now to say, okay, I've engaged my internal unique self with my external environment, and now I got to come back to myself to say, okay, what happened? I need to reflect and integrate what came through here. So we have 3 cards for you. We have take a break. It says, a life's work, not a season, get off the treadmill, which I think is beautiful when I'm thinking about building because this is really about building with others. You have a vision. You're the one here in this card that is the artisan building. And these are probably the two patrons that are coming in to give advice. They're probably funding part of what he's building, but they're collaborating. Now, it's very difficult to collaborate with others when you're coming from this place of wounding, of emotional wounding. What you're being asked to do right now is, it's not about building, and ignoring your own emotional needs. This is about realizing that, yes, you can take a break. You can take a break to really do some emotional evaluation, whether this is simply just going on vacation, getting away, booking a trip somewhere where you just get to clear your head and reconnect with yourself. Maybe do a little meditation, or maybe, simply just not have to see it as I have to build all of this right now, to realize, okay, I'm going to engage with my external environment, and I'm going to just see what's out there. And I'm going to let some of this fall away to see what's left behind, and to see what part of what I've been building is actually truly emotionally connecting with me right now. Not with this kind of wounded, codependent illusion I've created, or that I've been acting from, but now what actually fills my cup. And this is really where that time to kind of go out and enjoy life a little bit, reconnect with what makes you feel good. Because then we have Imrama, and it says, where are you being called to journey to? And this really denotes this element of, this is the start of building something much bigger. The fact that you have the Ace of Cups here and that you're being asked to tap into that along with the Tower is showing that there's some part of what you're building that is faulty. And it's not a bad thing. It's not something that you have to, again, don't let your ego get in the way. This is all being divinely orchestrated because there's something that you're meant to do that's on a larger level. There's some aspect of what you're building here that does connect with you. But maybe these other people here are not the right people to be connecting with. Maybe these are people that you've been sharing rose-colored glasses with. And so you've been building from this place of kind of a lack of clarity. And in reality, you're meant to bring this out, but you're meant to bring it in to connect it with more emotionally healthy people for you. And then we have Keepers of the Earth. You are not alone. Ancient ancestors stand beside you. And really what I feel here is that this is just kind of letting you know, again, there's this greater purpose. You have perhaps a lineage of people who have been building something, and you're meant to take part in building something bigger. And it may feel like you're being asked to kind of go out on your own, but in reality, this is, my goodness, this is the beauty, the wonder, the awe of life, of, where could you not journey to? Life is so amazing. There's so many opportunities out there. So this is really, for me, showing as you engage with your external environment and you come back to say, okay, I took a vacation and I suddenly see now the cracks in what I've been building here. I suddenly realize, shoot, this is what I love to do. This is what fills my cup. And you know what? I don't have to carry this wounding anymore from the past. I am this emotionally stable person. I am worthy of another sharing my life. I don't need to, I have my cup, and I will look for others who meet my cup openly. I don't have to pour my cup into somebody else's, and I also don't have an empty cup waiting for somebody else's to fill mine. It's a very empowering message here. I know it might not come through, but I'm hoping you guys are understanding that. Okay, I'm going to pull a few additional clarifying cards for your internal energy and the external environment. We'll see if there's any other messages that want to come out here. So we have the Seven of Swords. You can see that. Seven of Swords and the Four of Swords. Very interesting. And so right off the bat, this is really showing me where you're meditating on where you've held yourself back, where others have gotten away with something. And so the Seven of Swords is kind of that. The Seven of Swords is on a mental level, you know, either somebody trying to get away with something or trying not to face something, which I kind of feel is what's been going on. And then the Four of Swords is that pause for meditation. It's that pause for reflection. It's realizing, okay, what are the three swords, the stories of the past that are other people's, the illusion that these are my truths, and what is my one truth? What are other people's truths versus my own true truth? And so what I'm seeing here is that in engaging with your external environment, you're going to see now where you've been running from being able to see your own truth, from seeing the truth of a situation, and you're going to get clarity on it. And then we have the King of Cups, interestingly enough, that came up over here for the Tower. So again, it's the King of Cups. I'm going to see if we can get any other cards. Ooh, yep, King of Cups and Four of Coins. So Four of Coins is kind of a pause to reflect on what, you know, or a pause of just kind of having a little bit of a stability with your tangible world. Usually this is like your finances, or having some stability in the tangible, like a home or something along those lines. But there's this component with the Four of Coins that can also signify stagnation. Where are you holding yourself back physically? You know, maybe you know you need to invest in something and you're not. Maybe you are not wanting to move when you know you have to. And I love how it kind of looks like the King of Cups here is sitting and kind of looking at this, you know, like desolate Four Coins over here. And it's almost like he's thinking like, what can I do with that? He's all cozy and comfy in the middle of his like wave with drinking a cup of tea, and he's looking over here at this kind of, and it looks like it's like in the, you know, middle of it's like in a tent, kind of in this harsh environment. It's almost like this like lack of connection here of having the resources, but not, like, he knows, the King of Cups is going to know what he wants to do with his resources. The King of Cups is tapped in, emotionally tapped in. He knows what's in his cup. He's so tapped in that he's on that level of just spiritual knowing. And he's looking at this Four of Coins, and he would know. He would know what to do with these coins immediately. But it's almost like somebody's left them out there, just kind of sitting. So I feel like by going out into engaging, battling this is going to be a time of really having to dig deep and realize where you have some deep emotional wounding around feminine energy. But if you can do that, and you can engage with what you've been building and bring it out, you're going to see what you can do with the resources you're sitting on now. Because that's what you're being asked. Really why you're going through all of this is to have emotional healing, tap back into connection with yourself, to be able to see where to put your resources now. Because you have quite a bit. Four of Coins means you have some element of stability. But you have to see where to continue to invest it. And by the Tower, which is going to be this divine shakeup, you're going to be able to see, okay, where do I need to reinvest it in here? And what's great about the Tower is that you know you're not going to invest it in something faulty. The external environment's bringing something down for you to be able to see where you need to invest. Not in the cracked wall that needs to come down. You invest in the foundation that's left behind. And now you get to build fresh. So what do you want to build? The King of Cups would know, because he knows what fills his cup. He knows what makes him happy. He knows what he wants. All right, Leo. I hope you guys have gotten something out of this message. If you'd like to book a personal reading or a one-on-one spiritual coaching session, the link to my website is in the description box below. I hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you back here again for your next reading. Bye, Leo.